The Love Affair, a number one this date in 1968 with Everlasting Love. 1977 is next. This is Radio 2 on the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 2 o'clock. This is Justine Green. 2 days before a fresh wave of health service strikes, NHS trusts in England, Wales and Northern Ireland have called on ministers to step in to end the long-running dispute about pay. The NHS Confederation says there's a growing fatigue among management and patients are being put at risk. The government has urged unions to consider the impact of industrial action on treatment backlogs. Julian Hartley is from NHS Providers.
It's absolutely vital in the interests of patients, in terms of those waiting for operations, those coming in as urgent cases, that we see a resolution to the industrial action. And all trust leaders across the country really want to make sure that we can find a resolution to this. But to do that, we do need negotiations at a national level.
Officials from Beijing and Washington have spoken by phone to try to ease tensions over a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon in American airspace. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has postponed a trip to China, saying the presence of the craft was unacceptable. The sister of Nicola Bulley, who's been missing for more than a week in Lancashire, has called on people to have an open mind and keep looking for her. Police have said their working hypothesis is that Ms Bulley fell into the River Wire. Ukraine says it's recovered the bodies of 2 British men who died in eastern Ukraine as part of a prisoner swap with Russia. 28-year-old Chris Parry and Andrew Bagshaw, who was 47, were working to evacuate civilians from war zones when they were killed by shelling last month. Danny Aberhard reports.
The Ukrainian authorities have not indicated when their bodies might be returned to their families or British diplomatic staff. In the prisoner swap, Kyiv says 116 of its servicemen were released, including defenders of Mariupol, partisans from Kherson and snipers from Bakhmut. Moscow, meanwhile, says 63 of its personnel were freed, including some of what it called a sensitive category, without elaborating.
The former Conservative Party chairman Sir Jake Berry has called for Dominic Raab to be suspended while he's investigated over claims of bullying. Mr Raab, who's the Deputy Prime Minister and Justice Secretary, has denied any wrongdoing. The Energy Ombudsman, which mediates problems between customers and companies, has received a record number of complaints. More than 100,000 were made in 2022, 50% more than 2 years before. Emma Pinchbeck is from Energy UK, the trade body for the industry. She says customers' complaints are more complex due to the cost of living pressures.
That spike in complaints is related, I would expect, to the spike that we're seeing in our own call centres. Call volumes to our customer service centres are up a fifth. Those calls are more complex, so calls are taking longer to resolve, they're more challenging, and a fifth more are requests for financial support and assistance.
That's Emma Pinchbeck from Energy UK. And that's the BBC News. It's 3 minutes past 2.
Traffic with Orna.
Paul, thank you very much. First of all, to Glasgow and the westbound side. So between 14 at Fruit Market and 16 at Craighall, it's been looking slow. And heading into Glasgow on the M74, it's quite heavy now from the M73 at Junction 4 Maryville through to Rutherglen at Junction 2. The M57 on Merseyside, now it's still closed in both directions between 6 at Kirby and 7 at Switch Island. Now that's causing queues back along the M58 and around Aintree as well. You find a lot of those routes very busy. Also, we've had some queues on the M62. This is in Cheshire, the eastbound side, Junction 8, Warrington West through to 9. At Winnick, an accident has closed 2 lanes and the queues have been backing up there. And Watford, not great, Stevenson Way. So it's closed on the southbound side. That's from the M1 at Junction 5 at Watford. It's all the way through to the Colonial Way roundabout. It's overrunning roadworks, that's all it is. The M25, well, clockwise at South Mim, so near the top at the A1M at Junction 23 was heavy. That was a breakdown which was causing those delays. And then we've got the 3 lanes still closed. And that's along the stretch between Waltham Abbey at Junction 26 and Junction 25 for Enfield. It's emergency repairs. It's following an accident which happened, but there's a 4-mile queue and it's backing up and it's taking about 40 minutes. London Holborn and we've got the Strand underpass closed, the A301. It's been like that for quite a while. It's on the northbound side from Waterloo Bridge to Kingsway and the queues have been backing up over Waterloo Bridge as a result of that. 03700 100 200. I'll be back with more in an hour.
Across the nation, BBC Radio 2, pick up the ball.